Hello, welcome back to SoulSchool. I'm Theolyn, and this is episode number 4 in the series Keys to Heaven. And the keys to heaven are held, so to speak, by a series of archangels. Now, let me remind you again that you really could make good use of your membership for SoulSchool.com. Theolyn.com, SoulSchool's website. If you go into the members library, you can get the leaflet, which if you haven't already got it, please get it so that you get the map. So the leaflet, booklet, it's quite a lot of material in here. Working with Archangels for Abundance has got the map on it. And here we are. We've had to stand off on an Oriole at the bottom here. And then we went to Gabriel. You have to see my finger going in the right direction. So there's Gabriel. Right. And then in the last episode, we looked at Haniel, the red chap here. Vroom, vroom, vroom. And now we're going to talk about Raphael. And she's the sweetie pie, if you like, of the archangels. So I'll just hold up the bigger images again. There's some Oriole with Sandalphon, that way round, so they look at each other. Oriole and Sandalphon. And then we went up to the next level to meet Gabriel, who's like got the keys to all the others. He's got the bunch. And then we had a look at our mighty energy, fuel, rev, high-tech, high-rev energy, Haniel. And I talked about how if you rely totally on Haniel as your driver, as your force field of energy, that it can take you into a kind of burnout situation. There's no doubt that you can access that energy. Human beings have immense reservoirs of energy. Sometimes you only discover how much you've got until something emergency happens. And then vroom, the adrenaline rises and people do all kinds of remarkable things. Like, a woman stops a truck because it's going to run over her child. An episode of unusual strength which she could not have predicted, because the desire and the impetus from her soul and her personality as well to save that child, it creates the force field that's necessary. But as you see on the map, make sure you get it, as you see on the map, then on the yin pillar, the other side of the tree, we have Raphael, and here's sweetie pie Raphael, very much a charming pink and lilac, energetic, healing quality, rose quartz, amethyst if you want to use crystals. And she represents the fact that with all the Haniel energy for the battle of life that we require, we also, in balance, require the opposite, the polar opposite, we could say. We require the nurturing and the softness and the relaxation. And because modern Western life is so highly charged with a yang energy, with the Haniel kind of energy, this is probably why there's such an emphasis on the massage parlour, on the spa, and going to have your feet done or your facial, and ways to find that you can chill out, as people say, to release the grip of the yang energy, because it will take you forward, but it can exhaust itself And I think that's collectively what humanity has been doing for quite a few, possibly centuries actually, certainly quite a few decades. So our friend Raphael, whose name incidentally means healer of God, Raph is Hebrew for healer, and El is God. Here we go. Raphael is the healing energy of God. We could also use the word reconciliation, because there is a way of looking at healing that's not just to do with a physical wound or something, but it's also to do with emotional tension caused by inharmonious relationships with other people. And those relationships which we don't feel comfortable with often hover around old stories in families, old regrets, old resentments. And Raphael is the one who pours the oil on the troubled waters, who eases the way through what previously had been either a standoff or a face-to-face potential battle. And in the biblical story, or the apocryphal story of Raphael, there's this character who's gone on a journey because his father is called the Book of Tobit, and Tobit is the old man who's losing his eyesight, and his son Tobias goes on a journey to visit other members of the family from whom they're estranged, because the other family members might help them financially. When the old man goes poor, he can't see to earn any money. So on this journey, Tobias unknowingly is accompanied by a guide who just happens to be the Archangel Raphael. And this guide shows him a few special things to do with a fish that's caught in the river. And one of the things that Raphael suggests that they can use the fish for is to light a fire in a bedroom. And this bedroom is the place where Tobias and his new bride, Sarah, are going to go to bed. And what has happened in the past is that Sarah has had several previous husbands, and the marriage bed has never been consummated because a demon turns up and haunts the bedroom so that the couple can't fulfill their marriage vows. And so the Archangel Raphael comes in, lights a special fire, uses part of the fish gut to create the kind of smell that puts the demon off, but we assume the smell doesn't put Tobias and Sarah off, because once the demon is gone, they can have their celebration of their new love. So Raphael is an archangel to do with marriage and a happy marriage. And so the key to happiness and the key to joy in relationships is very much a Raphael topic. Also, although I mentioned earlier that Gabriel is good with commerce, in the same story, it's because Tobias marries Sarah that the financial problems are sorted out, because Sarah's family have money and they can support the old father who's going blind. So I associate Raphael with the astrological concept of Venus, to do with relationships, love, harmony, and money, actually. So Raphael holds a key to the way we to the way we relate to other people, which is not the same as the communication that we get with Gabriel. It's to do with empathetic relationships, to do with compassion, to do with extending our feelings and not being overawed by the energetic desire just to keep going, which we met when we encountered Haniel on this journey. So having been sitting at the bottom of the tree in our Malchut, in our kingdom, with the company of Sandalph and Oriel, we're rising up the tree. We have come up and met Gabriel, who's unlocked and revealed these two complementary but potentially contrary archangels, because one wants to get on and do things and the other one wants to chill out. And we have to know those two energies within us, because that's our way of mastering our own energy, and that will give us the key to successful living and being truly alive and being truly the sovereign or the empress or emperor in our own kingdom or empire. And that's what we want to do. We want to take charge of these inner archetypes who represented by these archangels who we can communicate with. And then we get this sense of mastery. And here I'll just remind you a bit, I won't go into it too deep because it's quite philosophically quite long, but in the myth of the Garden of Eden, which occurs at the beginning of the Hebrew Bible, what happens is that there isn't just one tree in the garden, there are two trees. One of them is the tree of life. And the tree of life is actually the one that Adam and Eve are allowed to eat from. And then the other tree is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now this is interesting because this model in Kabbalah is called the tree of life. It's not called the good and evil tree. But you could look at it and say, actually, with the yang side and the yin side competing with each other, it's a bit like, a shadow boxing match between light and dark. And, if you want to take that further, you could say between good and evil. But if we regard this tree of life as giving us a model which is not unlike the Taoist idea, that there's always an interplay of energies between the yang and the yin, and that they are equal partners in creation, then we can see that this is a tree of life, and it doesn't have to be a competition between quote, good and evil, but it is a holistic model which allows us to see that all these different energies within us are crucial for our well-being. And if we get to understand them and not divide the tree of life from another tree, which we call, quote, good and evil, if we see them as a one tree, a holistic tree, describing all the potentials that we've got and showing us how we can learn to manage them, so we are, as I said, sovereigns in our own kingdom. And what it also says in that biblical story is that if we eat from that tree of the knowledge of good and evil, then we become like the gods, right? So we get what is called in Greek gnosis, knowledge. And this was one of the things about, keeping the human beings away from this tree, because they shouldn't get this knowledge, because after all that might make them too powerful. So let's consider that you're going to start working with these different keys held by these different archangels, and you're going to collect them so you know when it's time to unlock your Haniel energy, or when it's time to unlock your Raphael energy, or your Gabriel energy, and so on and so forth. And once you've got that idea, oh, it's time for me to use this, or it's time for me to use that, then you're coming from a higher perspective on the way you use your energy in the world in order to fulfill what your dream is for your Malchut, for your kingdom, what you want to realize in the world. So that's Raphael. And I'll be back again very soon with the next Archangel on the tree. And if you get the map by going to Theolyn.com and signing up as a member, then you'll know who's going to come next. So please subscribe to the channel and also like the video. Then you'll get to hear really quickly when the next Keys to Heaven video is uploaded. Many blessings.